Hi, Pat the Podcast Editor here. Whether you think it's the beginning of a new age or the start of the human decline, AI is here and it's changed the way we work for good. And in today's episode, Dan and Lloyd talk all things AI.
I do think once people listen to the rest of this episode and hear some of the use cases, like it really is mind-blowing, the things you can do and how much time it can save you.
It's like a no-brainer to start using it.
And what's even crazier, it's free.
And Dan gives his hot take on why every company should embrace AI or be left behind in this new era of artificial intelligence.
Which company do you think is going to do better? The one that's got more money coming in and doing things more efficiently, or the one that's moaning about AI? Like, it's just a no-brainer.
Now, before we dive in, we'd like to take a second to thank our sponsors, Adobe Express. Adobe Express allows you to quickly and easily create standout social graphics, logos, flyers, and more on web and mobile. Click the link in the description to try Adobe Express today. Right, let's get stuck in. This is episode 136 of the Business Anchors podcast.
We're just a couple of business anchors. Welcome to the Business Anchors podcast. This jingle is slightly too long.
How are we using AI to overtake our competitors, and why did you make us have a creative meeting about AI this week, Lloyd?
We're using it in a few different ways so far, which we'll go into. But the reason we're having these meetings about AI and talking about it a lot in our business is because there's a huge opportunity to make our business more efficient and do better work now. It's not like, oh, AI is going to be this thing that helps us in the future. Now it's having a hugely positive effect. So that's why we're doing it.
I'm slightly worried that people are going to think we're doing that thing where we're going to try to be AI experts because we keep talking about it, but we're not doing that.
Well, you say we're not trying to be AI experts, but I was in the pub with our dad the other night.
Well, you didn't invite me. Did you not? That is actually well out of order.
What? But he lives near me, and it was like impromptu, like, oh, do you want to just get a quick pint without Dan? And
okay, cool.
So
I remember that.
But it was like a last minute thing.
Yeah. So you were having a pint with Dad without me.
Yeah. And I actually was saying to him, I want to become an AI expert, as in like I'm going to be an AI influencer and start posting TikToks about AI and post on LinkedIn about it. But as in, I think it's going to be really important for people owning businesses or leading in business to become, I guess, a bit of an expert in AI if you want to kind of thrive over the next few years. I really think it's going to be an essential skill to be able to use AI tools and know how to implement them within a business and stuff. So actually, I kind of do have a goal of being a bit of an AI expert.
I do think once people listen to the rest of this episode and hear some of the use cases, like it really is mind-blowing, the things you can do and how much time it can save you. And we're like, I know we're going to get into this, but just before this podcast, you were using, I don't know if you were going to talk about this, but you were using ChatGPT to compare printers and the speed of printing, because our printer broke this morning.
Yeah.
And rather than spending hours looking through reviews, and you did, I don't know exactly what you put in, but
suppose
that's a random thing that you've just done just now.
Yeah, this is a good example and a good way to show. I'm literally using AI tools every day now, without exaggerating. Yeah. I think that might surprise some people that it's that much of a I'm pretty big deal in the AI world. Me and Elon were talking about it, and but yeah, so that example, we need a new printer. Right, this is a task right now. We're currently hiring for an admin assistant. We don't have someone in that role, so it's something that I feel like, I needed to do that and just get it done, so I don't take up the team's time. And it's just not an efficient way to use my time in my role in the business to spend an hour comparing printers, working out which one's going to be the best. We have to print a lot of scripts with quite a few pages. And so we're thinking about things like our positive impact plan. We want to have a printer that is the most energy efficient. When we're thinking about our carbon footprint, we don't want to be using loads of energy, and we want to be looking at the programs where you can recycle bits, all this. Anyway, that's a bit boring, but that stuff also, because of the scripts we print, we need fast printer. And I would have had to read blogs for people that want to print this sort of stuff? What's
Yeah.
going to be the quickest? What's the energy rating? Compare all these things.
And the cost per ink was something I said as well.
Yeah,
cost per
of
ink.
ink. And I just wrote in ChatGPT, basically, we're an office with this many people. This is the sort of stuff we print. We want to compare energy rating, the carbon footprint, price, speed of printing, and can you put that in a table for me to compare? So that took
You did
me
that like 2 minutes ago.
to write that. Clicked enter, looked at it. There was 2 of them that I thought, okay, that looks like they're worth looking at. Looked at the 2, went on 1, and I'm going to buy it after this episode.
Yeah.
And so that thing that I reckon that would have taken me
An hour.
all the comparison and trying to work out, oh, it's not in stock there. Oh, okay, look at this. Oh, no, that doesn't print fast enough.
Yeah.
And that took me 5 minutes.
Yeah. It's weird. We didn't plan to talk about that, but that
No.
just happened before the episode. I think the final thing before we get into the kind of use cases and talk a bit more about it, the way I like to think about it is if you are running a business, like think of these 2 situations. If like company A and company B, company A embraces AI and like we are doing, understands how to use it, saves you like 55 minutes just now by using it, and really embraces AI rather than moaning about it. Company B doesn't and just moans about it and doesn't embrace AI. Company A is going to save tons of time and going to be able to deliver work more efficiently and will have cost savings and can either pass those cost savings on to their customers or can have bigger margins. Like, which company do you think is going to do better? The one that's got more money coming in and doing things more efficiently, or the one that's moaning about AI? Like, it's just a no-brainer.
That's how simple it is. And I know some people see AI as this thing, oh, you're taking a shortcut and what you're going to do is going to be much worse. But my experience so far is the AI, and don't get me wrong, AI isn't good to use for all of your work. That's not the case. Definitely not. And that's not what we're doing. But in my experience, the things I'm using AI for and the people within our business are at the moment, it saves time, as Dan said, which gives the business an opportunity to make stuff better value for our clients or us make a higher profit margin. Probably both.
And can invest more back into our company with that.
But the other thing is, and people think, oh, it's a shortcut, you're going to do worse work. The other thing is it can improve quality.
It is.
So like just said that boring printer thing, but that was better at comparing printers than I am. That found the information more efficiently was better. And also for other use cases, which we'll probably go into, it's doing work better than a human could. So not only are we getting the efficiencies, we're doing better quality of work, and that's really good for our business and for our clients. It's not like it's good for one of us and not good for another, or there's someone that's suffering because we're saving time. It's the time efficiency and the quality that's improving. So it's like a no-brainer to start using it.
I don't know. I reckon it might just be a fad though, Lloyd.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, probably stop using it next week.
No, this is a point I just want to make. Like, there has been things that come around and it is a fad.
Yeah.
Where things just come around. Like, it seems like AI has just popped up recently, these advances in AI, and they're not going to stick around.
Well, I suppose the fads. So I was going to say, I'm probably going to say stuff of fads and then really offend people. That, but I suppose other things that people think might be a fad are like the metaverse. That's another. People ask that question for that, and I understand saying, "Oh, is that a fad for that?" Because it's quite a leap from where we are now to think we're all going to be spending part of our day to day with a VR headset on in this world in the metaverse. There's a small number of people doing that now, but it's quite a leap to think that's going to be all of us. Whereas
Small number of people that don't get out of the house and don't do much.
yeah, they're probably lovely though. They probably have a lovely virtual life. Whereas AI right now, so I'm using it every day, and like I said, it's more efficient and doing stuff better now. It's not like, oh, it might do at some point, and there's literally use cases for any job that you're doing and anything in life.
And what's even crazier, it's free.
Yeah.
Like, it's free.
Yeah.
We've just upgraded to ChatGPT Premium, which is $20 a month.
But it can
be free.
That's the thing. There's the barriers to like the metaverse, right? Everyone's got to buy this VR headset and learn how to. The barrier to entry to start using AI, like, and ChatGPT being the one everyone's talking about and the lowest barrier to entry, you set up an account and then you just type in a question and you can start kind of playing around with it. There's such a low barrier to entry, and it's not like, oh, this might be helpful in the future. It will be helpful the same day that you start using it. And that's why I think the amount that people are going to be using these AI tools is going to increase so rapidly and very, when we do an episode on AI in 6 months' time, it's not going to be like, oh yeah, so do you think people are still using it? It's just going to be so obvious that everyone's using it.
We're just going to be using AI to record these podcasts. Like, these guys won't be here.
Yeah,
we'll bin them off.
Yeah,
it'll just be computers.
Yeah, and we won't actually be here.
But it's funny you say that. I'm talking a lot more about AI with new like potential customers and stuff. And I had a chat the other week, and one of someone I spoke to is doing all of their training videos for staff.
Training videos. Okay.
Using, I think it's called Synthesia. Where you basically type a script in and an AI that looks like a human. Because they've got a SaaS, a software as a service platform that's constantly evolving and changing. They constantly have to update their training. So rather than reshooting all their training content, they just delete some text and retype it, whatever the update is, and then their training's updated. It's mental, some of these use cases. Final thing about this being a fad, how long do you think AI has been around, Lloyd?
Since about 1912.
67 years. Since 1956.
Oh.
I looked in Wikipedia.
Someone's been doing research for this episode. Yeah, if I'm honest, I don't know much about the history of AI. I remember...
Let me tell you. I'm joking. I'm not gonna...
I remember growing up, AI was really a thing that people spoke about. Well, one day there'll be robots and they'll be intelligent, and then they're going to take over the world and kill everyone. I don't think anyone kind of saw it as initially...
ChatGPT.
Initially, typing in... Please, could you write a perfect itinerary for a 2-week trip to Turkey for someone who likes seafood restaurants and abseiling?
Please compare these printers.
But I know, by the way, I am aware of, I think there's still a lot of concerns around AI, and if there's no regulation, kind of the issues that there could be with it as it progresses. And I do think that is still a worry. I guess previously, I think we thought just if ChatGPT got invented, it would just start typing to itself, let's kill everyone. And then in 10 minutes, suddenly I typed a gun. And then...
you basically wrote a story about killing people.
Yeah, then types bang. And then suddenly...
you're dead.
But, so it's not that kind of... thing that we kind of see in films and stuff. But there are those concerns and things. I think there's going to be a lot more regulation as things progress, which will be interesting.
So, the interesting part, Lloyd. That bit was interesting.
That was boring, that bit.
No, this is the more actionable, interesting part. How are we using AI to overtake our competitors? There's a whole range of things that we're doing that we can go into.
Yeah.
Comparing printers and stuff like that.
Really exciting stuff like comparing printers.
But there is actually, lots of different things we're doing. Should we start going into some of those and hopefully it'll interest people and they'll try it?
Hopefully, just talking about what this podcast is for. Hopefully it'll interest people and then they'll listen to this podcast and then maybe they'll subscribe at some point.
Saturday. Maybe they'll tell their friends that they like business anchors.
Maybe that will help with the clips and with the algorithm on social media. Should we give them any more context?
No, they're gone.
No? Okay. Maybe they'll quite like it. Well, firstly, something we're doing, which I think is potentially a good thing for any business. We sat down as a group with all of our team and we just spoke about this, and I gave some examples of stuff we've been doing, which we're going to go into in a minute, and we're encouraging everyone before our next AI meeting, because we're going to do it regularly. Sounds really sad. Next AI meeting. And everyone's going to come back with examples of how they've used it, and so we can kind of be like, oh, well, who's had really successful things they've tried, who's kind of failed, I tried to do this and it didn't really work. And I think that's a really simple thing that we're doing at the moment to facilitate all this, that any business now, so say you've got a business with 20 people, there's going to be probably 2 people in the room.
They're going to lose their job because they are.
No, that are really into this, and in their own time they've been learning about it. And there's going to be, you've always got someone enthusiastic in the room that's like, oh yeah, I've been making recipes. Yeah, I've been make recipes for stuff that I like and they'll be enthusiastically talking. And there'll be some that don't have a clue, and people in the middle. And I think that opportunity is to get everyone together and start talking is a really good thing, because we all came up with ideas which we're going to go into, and it's increased how we're experimenting with it already.
Yeah.
And because we're going to do that regularly, it's going to improve what we're doing. So that's the first thing that we've been doing. But to go into specifics, do you want to talk about anything?
I'm quite excited to share my one.
Yeah,
Can I share my first one?
Yeah.
So one of the things I realized when ChatGPT came out, a lot of copywriters sort of got their back up and like, oh, this is all duplicate content. It's just, it's going to create loads of copy for stuff that is just the same as everyone else's. And which kind of makes sense. But something we've been using it for, which combats that, is writing summaries of our these podcast episodes that are in written format on the write-ups of these episodes. So if you go to businessanchors.inc...
I was just going to ask you where we could find this.
Oh, well done.
Businessanchors.inc. Interesting.
Yes.
Oh.
Businessanchors.inc. We'll say it again.
Okay, cool.
So go look at our new website for our podcast, and you'll see that we write up these episodes. And something we're now doing is putting into ChatGPT the transcript for these episodes, using a tool called Descript, which is a free tool to transcribe these episodes, inputting that transcript of things that we're actually saying into ChatGPT and saying, summarize all of this into a well-written blog in a non-corporate tone of voice and a chatty format. And you have to go, you have to give it a few different prompts. Sometimes it's not quite right, and you say, can you make this less formal? Or like yesterday I did this, another example. It came back and things were spelt the way Americans spell things, and I was like, can you write this like a British person, so that it was
right, so like a British person, not a stupid person.
Yeah.
Don't worry, guys, that was a joke. I know we've got American listeners, so I thought I'd make a little joke.
So we not only that, so it writes a summary of these in written format, well written. You can then ask it to optimize it for certain keywords. So keywords we're trying to rank for in Google for the write-ups of these podcast episodes, it can optimize that. And it's also not duplicate content, because it's got the information it's writing from what we've actually said out of our mouths.
Yes. Yeah, out of our mouths.
Yeah.
Sometimes we talk out of our asses, but sometimes we talk out of our mouths.
But like, that is bloody impressive, isn't it?
It's something interesting that I've been thinking about with, so you optimizing it for search engines. I'm thinking, so now you search something on Google and then you click on a link and go to a website. Don't know if you've heard of this, have you?
You can know. Go on, tell me more.
It's called the interweb. You go to Ask Jeeves.
Oh my God, do you remember Ask Jeeves?
Oh, a throwback. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
But these...
Sorry, just on a point you just remembered.
Okay.
Do you remember when we first went to... when the internet first came out and we went to the library, and
the internet first came out like it was a big launch for the...
No, but like when we were really young, and you were looking on, was it dinosaur websites or something?
Walking with Dinosaurs?
Yeah, sorry.
Yes, I do remember that, Dan. Maybe we could talk about that in our own time later.
Sorry.
Yes, so what I was saying, now go to Google, it finds a website that someone's created.
Sounds like a good tool.
And you go there for their information. Yeah, you should try it. So now with ChatGPT, it's scraped the information from the internet and got data that it uses, but there's no need to click to go to that website now.
Yes.
And I think a really interesting thing for the future is how that's going to affect businesses and people and websites, because you're no longer going to need to go to that website. So, for example, all this content marketing and stuff we do, writing blog write-ups and all this stuff where people will get there and then listen to our podcast, that information will be used, but no one will necessarily go to those websites and find out about the Business Anchors or Knowlton.
That's why I think Google
really change things.
Google are shitting their pants, basically. I don't know if you've read up, they're like, I think they've already launched their own version of ChatGPT, because currently, the thing that I don't like about Google is it serves you information based on who is best at SEO optimizing their content, not what the best content is.
Yeah.
So with ChatGPT, it scrapes that information and gives you specifically what you want. Like you said about the printers and stuff.
Yeah.
You can say, I want the ones that are most sustainable, that print the fastest. It will look for all that information. And
For this to be sustainable, people are going to have to keep creating content and putting it on the internet. Otherwise, there's going to be no information for the new information for these tools to use. So I wonder if to be sustainable, it will have to be giving you information, and then potentially there being links underneath of kind of saying these are the top places. Like, oh, if you want to find out more about this thing that we've given you an answer for, click here. Because if it gets to a point where it's not beneficial for anyone to add any information to the internet. I know that sounds absolutely crazy.
Could I make a pretty quick prediction?
Yeah.
Right. I reckon there's going to be a new marketing kind of channel. You know, like there's SEO optimizing things, AI optimizing things. Because if you think more and more people are going to be using ChatGPT, and you want your company, your website, your content to be served as the when people are typing in prompts, you want yours to be served, and there's going to eventually be ways like right now, how does ChatGPT decide whose answers and what content it
someone's
uses?
going to be putting in to ChatGPT, what are the best 5 podcasts to listen to if I want to grow my graphic design business based in Swindon? And we want them to say, oh, here are 5 really good ones. Business Anchors is the best. And one of the co-hosts is really attractive. And the other one is called Dan.
Hey.
Bit of comedy there. Listeners.
A little bit of comedy for you guys.
Yeah, a bit of comedy for you. What are the funniest podcasts based in Kent? Still not on the list. What about just Thanet? Margate?
Yeah.
Still not in the top 5.
Exact location.
Okay, good prediction. So
there's going to be AI optimizing your content is going to be a new thing, right? In 10 years, whoever's got access to our content, just going to do a piece of the camera. Remember this, and then now put the bit in me in 10 years saying that I was right. Okay, cool. So I just had to do that so that in the future.
Okay, cool. That's great for the listeners. Brilliant.
So let's move on to...
I'll give you an example of something that I found really useful. So again, if you're not into AI or consider using it, you might not think of this sort of thing. So, right, you want to hire someone. Okay,
I want to hire someone.
Let's set the scene. You want to hire someone.
Yep.
But how? I can't use AI to do the interview. I can't use... Well, let me tell you a story. I think if you want to build the best teams, I don't think you can just find a standard interview template off the internet like some interviewers do. I want to hire like
you've been doing before AI came out.
No, I didn't do it. Kind of. I want to hire an admin assistant like we've been looking for.
Yeah.
So you could just Google questions for admin assistant, and it will come out. Oh, here's 20, and
the most SEO optimized.
There's
website will come up. Yeah.
I'll just ask those. Whereas if you want to build the best teams that are perfect for your business, and just a standard admin assistant isn't going to be ideal for this business. So someone that really fits into this team. So someone that's going to work thinking about sustainability and carbon footprint in everything they do. Someone who is creative is going to be good for us as well. Someone who doesn't necessarily want a really corporate environment, but more of an informal working environment and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So there's all these things that are kind of unique to our business together that would make the perfect person.
Yes.
There's obviously a lot more things, but so I've written into ChatGPT. You're a owner of a blah 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 business,
describing our business,
to hire an admin assistant. These are the important things in our business. This is important for this role. Our business is like this. Blah blah blah. Could you write 20 interview questions based on these things, and it will come out with the perfect questions. But also then, if you want to think of the perfect questions to find out whether, for example, on the sustainability angle, that someone's going to be using that within their work and thinking day to day, oh, how could I do this same thing but reduce the carbon footprint of the business and stuff? So you can then say, oh, can you write 5 sample questions based on how an admin assistant would reduce the carbon footprint of a business, or think of sustainability and the day to day, and then it comes out with great stuff, and you can just end up with the perfect questions for the perfect person for your business, rather than just hiring a standard person in that role.
And I mean, how long would that have taken you to do that manually?
Oh, thinking of like
that would have taken a lot of brain power.
And this is the other thing. I have absolutely no doubt from what came out of that the quality of those questions were much better than my brain could produce. So not only did it save me time, but I think the main difference with this case wasn't the time saving. It was the improving the quality of getting what I actually wanted to get.
Yeah. Crazy.
And so that's that. Interview questions, that's another random
example
that we've used in the last few days.
Yeah. Another one from in terms of sort of my side of the business, all to do with our own marketing and sales, is the pitching process. So we do a lot of pitching to potential customers. You know, they come to us and they've got an objective they want to achieve. We have a creative meeting to decide what can we do for them, and we present how we're going to do that. One of the things that's quite time consuming sometimes, especially when like presenting concepts of videos, is getting visuals to communicate what we're trying, what the video concept is going to be like, but especially because what we do is quite out there. You know, like if you look at a lot of the work we deliver, it's not your bog standard, we've got a talking head with a guy in an office.
An example previously was, we're going to create a video of someone skiing down a mountain with a kitchen sink under their arm.
Yes. This is actually a really good example. So this was years ago we did this, and it took someone from the team hours to Photoshop an image of that, basically.
And it still didn't look that good.
And it still didn't look that good. Whereas...
do you know why it didn't look that good?
Because you did it.
The person on our team was me.
Was it you? This was back in, early days. Whereas now, you can use, what's the tool called for creating images?
There's a few, but there's DALL-E. I don't know how you say it. DALLE.
Yeah.
There's Midjourney.
Midjourney, that's it.
There's lots,
And you can type into it, create image of guy skiing down mountain with holding a sink, and like with a few
holding a sink.
Yeah. With a few different prompts, you can you can get some really good visuals back that you can be using in pitches. Previously, I'll even give you another example from recently, before ChatGPT was a thing, like about a couple of months ago. We presented a concept for something. I won't go into too much detail because it's to do with a live project, but one of our team did take hours producing this, photoshopping this visual of a really out there kind of concept. When DALL-E came out, what we've just spoken about, the other day after our AI meeting, we literally typed in, make this visual, and it did it in seconds, and it was better than what they'd made. Yeah. So it's like, this is actually, you can create amazing images.
And I think because ChatGPT is the one that's been in the news and people talk about more, I don't think people are as aware of the other AI tools that are around to do with image and videos and lots of other things. So that's going to be the next thing that people are hearing about, not just ChatGPT.
Yeah. Have you got any more?
Yeah. Good. But you look very excited.
I know, I've discovered something recently, but it's your turn. I'm getting too excited.
Dan, you look so excited to say the next thing.
I haven't told you this. This is why I'm excited to share it with you. Okay. Sorry to take up the airtime. I just got excited.
I mean, it's weird how excited you are about this.
This is really cool. So I discovered a tool which you don't even know about, and it's free, called Fathom. Okay. Right? What this tool does is it's a tool that connects with Zoom. It's a free app that connects with Zoom, and I've downloaded it and added it to our Zoom, which I was going to tell you about in Friday's meeting.
Okay.
But it basically transcribes the whole meeting and then writes like minutes or notes for the meeting in bullet point format of the key actions and key takeaways from that meeting. And then you can integrate it with like Zapier to then save that as like a Google Doc in a certain folder. And you can also get it to put notes in certain Slack channels with actions and stuff, and it's completely free. Great. So like when we're doing discovery or kickoff calls with clients, and we sometimes not all the team can be on that, we can summarize all of that in note format, and it can automatically do it instantly, which is
It's another example of what you said earlier. Company A, Company B. Company A has a call with some people in the team, and then they kind of say verbally to the rest of the team, oh yeah, this happened, they spoke about this, this and this. Company B has a call and then there's this really precise message with the details that goes out to the people to communicate everything. Which business over time is going to do better?
Yeah.
That's great.
So good.
And I'm glad you were so excited about that.
Yeah.
It was nice to see some emotion.
I'm even going to, just thinking about it, when I have initial sales calls with potential customers on Zoom, I should be doing that as well. Because all the things they're saying are the answers they're giving to my questions. I normally type notes, but that could be another way to use it.
Yeah.
So Lloyd, tell me some more about your use cases.
Next one, I guess, to talk about, I think inspiration and kind of first draft of any ad copy that we're writing now. So what I'm finding really useful is previously we'd spend all of our time. So say we've got a campaign going live, we'd spend all of our time writing that ad copy and focusing on, okay, how can I improve this? Now, as a starting point, usually I've started using ChatGPT and experimenting with this to write some stuff, and then I'll use ChatGPT to kind of change things, and then use that as kind of inspiration for the campaign. So there's usually some really great bits that I wouldn't personally have thought of, and persuasive language that is perfect for the target audience that I wouldn't have necessarily thought of. So then I can use the best bits that have come out of that to write the ad copy. And I'm finding, again, it saves time because that initial process is quite hard, of like a blank page, going from a blank page to I need this filled with great stuff is a big jump. And that start bit's often quite hard for anything creative, so writing creatively. So to have a starting point and seeing some really good bits, and then that sparking your thinking, and then you go, okay, yeah, now it's much easier to get into the writing. And I find the process, again, is much quicker, and we're getting much higher quality writing coming out at the end of it, because we can focus on improving it and making it perfect rather than focusing on getting it done, I guess, if you know what I mean.
I was really impressed looking at one of your prompts in ChatGPT the other week to do with writing copy. You wrote a really detailed prompt, really outlining what this brand was like and what they cared about, and asked it to write copy for the key selling points and stuff. And that's another really important point for anchors, is the more information and detail you give it, the better the response you're going to get, is rather than just typing a generic, can you write some copy for this? Like saying, can you write copy for this type of company? The copy's trying to achieve this. Here's what they care about. Here's their benefits. Here's the objections to the product. And so,
This is why I think it's important that if you're listening to this, you start playing around with this and learning, because it's not, some people think it's this magic tool, like click a button and it'll just do the perfect thing for you anytime. And in reality, it's not. So the better you are at using these tools, the better results you're going to get. Anyone can type in, write some ad copy to try and get people to click this button. And so you put this generic stuff on there on an ad, and it's going to get average results because you're using it in an average way. Whereas, like Dan said, learning how to write prompts that are really detailed and help you get to the point of the really high quality work to come out of it. That's the skill, and that's why people should be putting time into learning this, because that's what you're going to need to thrive in your business rather than get left behind. Yeah,
definitely. We've also, another weird thing we've been looking into, again, to do with this podcast, is like the intros to the podcast. Currently, one of our team, we have to write the intro, then someone records it. We've been looking into AI software where someone speaks, don't know how to explain it. Someone's like does a bit of text and reads it, so you've got all the sounds from you saying stuff, and then you can type in intros, and the AI will make it sound like the person who's spoken does it. So you don't have to re-record something every time. You can just type it, similar to that tool I mentioned earlier.
This is why this is such a big thing. It's going to change so much of what humans do dramatically. Voiceover. It used to be, I suppose still now, most people having to pay someone to re-record saying a sentence, and now you could just type a different word and export it. There's so many jobs, and I'm not kind of ignoring the negative effects that this is going to have on people as well. I know we spoke briefly in a previous episode about it. I do think that these changes in the short term are going to have some really negative effects for people. So you're a voiceover artist, you're a copywriter, lots of these jobs overnight have become far less valuable because of the technology. So that is going to be a big change. But I suppose
You've got to embrace it. Rather
the
than...
idea, firstly, there's no point moaning about it. If something's happening, you can either moan about it or embrace it. Kind of go, okay, what can I do to make sure that this works out positively for me in the future? But also, I think the long-term goal with this is, yes, okay, less voiceover artists are going to be hired or whatever. But the idea is, as a society, we can all focus on doing things as humans that are more valuable, that provide us more happiness and stuff, rather than these sort of, I was going to say simpler tasks. That sounds harsh. Obviously, voiceover people are really good at that.
Yeah.
But these tasks that don't have to be done by humans anymore. But it's going to be obviously a long, complicated journey to get there.
I mean, I feel like we need to do another episode on this because there's like loads more stuff that we haven't spoken about. I think a good final thing, potentially, Lloyd, if you're up for it, is to just share some advice for anchors who have listened to this and they're like getting excited and thinking, I need to embrace this. Like, what steps should they take after listening to this podcast to actually start embracing and utilizing this new technology?
I think the first thing is not anything too complicated, to just start playing around and learning. I think whether you're, if you're scrolling TikTok on your sofa in the evening, rather than do that for an evening, sign up for ChatGPT and start asking it stuff. I think it's really simple. Just start seeing what it can do. Whether you're like, oh, let's see, you could just type in, I'm a mum of 3 and want to do a 2-day trip to Margate. Can you write an itinerary for the perfect trip? See what it comes out with. Or, I like raisins and cinnamon. Can you give me some recipes that I can cook this weekend? And that the items I've got are 2 lemons, an orange, and 1 cigarette. Just see what comes out. But no, start playing around without needing to think like, oh, I've got to become an AI expert, because that's how I've started, and it really is going to help. I think that's the first thing. But I think in a business context, I would say once you kind of have started doing that, having these sessions, whether you're a manager of a team or you're the owner of a small business or whatever you are, get your kind of team of people, even if it's half an hour, get some time in the diary, start talking about this stuff and sharing ideas and kind of make that a regular thing, even if it's once a month, coming back going, okay, how have people found it useful? Share those ideas and keep improving. I would say that's important.
You forgot the main action people should take after this, Lloyd.
What's that, Dan?
They should listen to episode 130 of Business Anchors, 6 scariest AI tools that will change your life.
Yes, I forgot that was the most important.
That was the most
one.
important action.
Yeah,
because I know I'm joking, but in there it talks about different types of tools that you can go down the rabbit hole with. So that could be a good next step to listen to that.
I think that's a good step as well. Is there anything else, Dan, you think could help people?
There's loads more. There's probably about 80% of my notes I haven't spoken about.
Yeah,
but
me too.
I think
if you guys want another episode on AI, please let us know. You might be bored of it after this one.
Yeah.
Or you might want some more. I would just really encourage people to try and be excited rather than scared, because if you're scared and
can we get the motivational music behind this, please, Callum?
Something inside. Is that back again? If you're scared and you're kind of fighting against it, it's going to be really tough. But if you're excited and you really go deep, really go, sorry, that wasn't really go full steam ahead into AI.
Something inside so strong.
You're going to thrive in your business and home life. Oh, no.
Go and use AI, anchors.
God, come on. If you haven't already, go and use it. And listen to that other episode. What episode was it, Dan?
Episode 130.
Yeah. Why are you still here? 130.
And we'll see you in your AI next week.
Oh, that was a good one, Dan. How do you think of that?
Bit of comedy for you, Lloyd.
Yeah.